Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now before we do get into today's first story, I just want to give you a warning. There is a trigger warning on this post of sexualization of a minor. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. Let's crack on with today's first story, which is titled, Reconsidering My Male 26 Engagement After My Fiancee, Female 25, Didn't Stick Up for Her Sister at Our Engagement Party. For the sake of this, I'm going to call my fiancée Claire. We go back to high school, but only started dating in 2019. Claire's extended family didn't meet her for Thanksgiving or Christmas the past 2 years. And this holiday is supposed to be the first since pre-COVID. There was also a family reunion that was cancelled due to COVID. So Claire's parents wanted to invite a lot of people to our engagement party because it was the first meeting in so long. However, the event is making me reconsider for a few reasons. Claire didn't want a specific aunt, Janice, to come to the party because she's a handful to deal with. But because they hadn't seen her in almost 2 years, her parents said they were inviting her anyway. Janice has a history of arguing elections along with voicing disagreements on Facebook that led to ugly back and forths. She was also outspoken about family who are vaccinated and posted about her disappointment too. She disagrees for religious reasons, and don't get me started on how she thinks the election was stolen. She is the cause of so much nonsense, but Claire's parents didn't want to exclude her to avoid drama. I offered to talk to her parents myself, but Claire asked me not to. The reason I'm writing this is because of something that happened at the party. Claire's sister, Hannah, performed a dance that her parents asked her to, but Janice told her parents that it wasn't appropriate for a lot of reasons that made me disgusted. Hannah is 14. Hannah performed a contemporary dance to a song her parents wanted, and she wore a dress too. Janice said that some of the moves were inappropriate when no one else thought so. Her dance also received a great reception, but Janice took to Facebook to bash Claire's parents, along with posting a picture of the performance that Claire's parents posted. She said they were failures at parenting for allowing it, and that it wasn't supposed to be a strip club. This is the kind of person Janice is, and some other relatives called her out for it too. But Claire's parents said nothing and told Claire to let it pass because they don't engage in drama. But I disagree because she called her a stripper and used their photos. I asked Claire for Janice's number to talk to her myself, but she refused to give it to me because others replied already. That's not an excuse for Hannah's family to not stick up for her, but Claire wants to let it pass. I vented to one of my friends who said Claire might not stick up for her children if we have them, and he also said she shouldn't need her parents' approval for everything. After I vented, I tried to talk again about why I felt it was important to stand up for Hannah, but she kept echoing her parents and staying out of it. And that's why I'm reconsidering. I just wanted to get another opinion on how to talk to her again, because I tried twice and it went nowhere. Edit. Hannah is 14. Me wanting to call Janice was just something I said at the end when I was bothered by everything Janice posted. I'm grateful that I wrote this post after others told me that I'd be out of place. Makes it all worth it. Something I didn't say in the post was the rest of Janice's comment. She called Hannah's performance porn after downloading a picture of the performance from Hannah's parents' Facebook and reposting it alongside her rant. Claire and her parents said to let it pass because other relatives called her out in the comments, but they had no desire to have the post removed. They still want to invite her to the wedding after time passed to avoid more drama, and they don't care about calling a minor porn on Facebook either. Oh my word, another enabling story where the family all enables this one family member who seems to be able to get away with all the bullshit that they want. And first thing I can say for sure, she wouldn't be coming to the wedding no matter who cried about it. Remember, that's your wedding too. And why would you want someone like that there? Do I think you confronting her will make a difference, change her mind or anything like that? Very unlikely. I wouldn't blame you for doing so, but very, very unlikely. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing anything or anything like that. You do what you need to do. But for me, this would be cut this person out of my life completely. Definitely not be allowed part of the wedding. And anyone who's got a problem with that can join her as well. Simple as, I think. He says, I'll never understand family members who sweep things under the rug to keep the peace. All they're doing is enabling shitty behavior and letting these people get away with it. Big Rotten Tuna says, I'm probably older than everyone involved in this situation. Here's my advice. Don't talk to Janice. Nothing will good would come of that. If you or your children were the target, by all means take action, but this is not your fight. But do talk to your fiancé about cutting her out of the wedding. People like Janice are toxic, and it is appropriate to cut toxic people out of your life and your life events. As you begin your life together, it's appropriate to begin setting boundaries. Your fiancé's strategy of letting toxic things like that continue is harmful. It tells her sister that it's okay for people to treat her like that. You don't need Janice's toxicity at your wedding. You want to be surrounded by love. Ad Astra says, okay, you can as the bride and groom decide not to have her invited to the wedding. Sit your fiancé down and tell her that you hope this isn't a reflection of how she would stand up for your future kids and what you and her have. Tell her that it is important to you that you know where she stands on matters that are mildly disturbing. OP says, she said she's inviting her to avoid more drama after time passes. She also said it wasn't a big deal that Janice downloaded the photos of Hannah's performance from her parents' page, called it porn in a rant, and that it's best to let it pass. I'm going to talk to her for a third time after hearing some different angles from other comments, but that was her stance so far. Personal Reality says, what's the point of inviting her to things to avoid drama when she then creates her own drama? Better to deal with the drama of her not coming than the drama she creates while she's there. How does Hannah feel about this whole thing? Because if she just rolled her eyes at her crazy aunt being crazy, then her family's response isn't actually that unreasonable. Why bother dealing with a drama monger if you just don't care? But I doubt any teenager is so well adjusted that this situation wouldn't bother her. It's super messed up of her aunt to post along with her picture. When you talk to her, I hope you focus on how ignoring the drama doesn't make it go away, and that you need to focus on what the victim of the aunt's cruel antics actually wants. OP then updates the post and says, I talked to my fiancé again yesterday after some of the advice I received, but I want to clear up a few misunderstandings from my first post. Hannah is 14 and was asked to dance to a song her parents chose at the engagement party. Janice didn't like the dance or the dress she wore. When Hannah's parents posted the album of the party on Facebook, Janice downloaded a picture of the performance and reposted it on her personal Facebook alongside a rant. In a rant, she called her performance porn while alluding to the picture she reposted. She also said it gave off stripper vibes in that people who dress like that are asking to be raped. When I asked to call Janice myself, that was an emotional reaction that would have been out of my place. I'm glad I made the post so that others could tell me, and thank you to everyone who did. I never dealt with anyone like Janice before, but I want to explain why I was reconsidering our engagement because many said I was wrong to do so, that I was trying to get involved for drama's sake, and that brings me to my update. We talked for a third time, the first since my first post, from the perspective of some of the advice I received, and I asked my parents for advice too. I also asked Claire to voice how she felt about me in this situation because I wanted to also hear her out. When we talked, Claire said she wanted to invite Janice to the wedding, after her parents and Janice's post about Hannah, because it'd be more drama if they didn't. When I asked how she could still invite her after what she said about Hannah, she said Janice's comments weren't a big deal again. So I asked her something that someone suggested in a comment. When I asked how she felt if Janice hypothetically made that comment about her potential daughter, she said I was overblowing the porn comment because it wasn't worth not inviting her over. When I asked her about the rape comment, she said to move on because it'd be forgotten soon. She also said she'd tell her daughter to not take everything personally. If Janice said the same about her, she also said that Hannah was probably looking at that stuff already. I was already bothered by her wanting to invite Janice before our third talk, but after having it, I was surprised by how much she doubled down and saw no fault in Janice's post. She also said that Janice disapproved of her doing ballet when she was younger, so Hannah needed to grow a spine when she was hurt by the post. That comment bothered me. My parents said she might be upset that I care about Hannah because no one might have cared/defended her at that age. They also said she saw no fault in Janice's actions because her family normalized it years ago. Dad also said she might have similar remorse to our potential children, and Claire said that Janice was coming regardless of what I thought. She was also upset when I told her I reported the Facebook post Janice made. I want to add that I never wanted them to engage in a Facebook comment battle with Janice. I just became upset because Hannah is a minor whose picture was used without their consent and called porn online, something they think is no big deal. The parents asked Hannah to perform at a party but didn't defend her when her aunt cyberbullied her. I've lurked long enough to know that people usually question past behavior that led to situations, but before the engagement party, I didn't see this side of her. We didn't have Janice outbursts the past 2 years due to COVID and not meeting for the holidays. The only exception was her rant about family who became vaccinated. Claire and I were excluded from that because we weren't involved and weren't hosting Thanksgiving/Christmas. Some family tried to convince her to become vaccinated, to meet for the holidays, but she refused, which led her to rant. Technically, Janice has no issues with Claire now, after blaming Claire's parents who allowed Hannah to perform. And when she said the porn comment wasn't bad despite being a minor, I told her I was reconsidering our engagement because she couldn't see how Janice cyberbullying a 14-year-old was wrong, on top of wanting to still invite her to the wedding. She said she's not budging, and that's her stance, even when I offered her no contact with Janice going forward. Aside from being surprised, I'm going to probably discuss cancelling with my parents after talking to her the third time. Edit. I tried to suggest going no contact/blocking Janice after not inviting her to the wedding, so that she wouldn't have to tolerate a likely Facebook rant. However, she refused and said she'd still hear about it from other relatives who'd take her side. When I suggested telling others she didn't want to hear about Janice, she said she wasn't about to block her entire family. This wasn't the first time Janice disapproved of sports, she and Hannah did. She also did dance when she was younger, and Janice voiced her opinion then too. But they told Claire to toughen up, and she explained that her reasoning for saying Hannah needed to grow a spine. And I kind of feel like Claire wasn't giving Opie a choice in this, wasn't listening to what Opie was saying at all. It was, she's coming to the wedding, whether you like it or not, this is my hill to die on, so you need to just accept that. There was no conversation there. To me, it sounded very much like Claire said, it's either this or it's over kind of thing. And this would be the future for OP as well. Janice constantly being accepted at family gatherings and stuff. You can't turn her away from a family barbecue because, it's Janice. It's just how she is. Nah, fuck that. At some point, you need to back up your own values and say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not accepting that shitty person around me. I know that's very, very easy to say when I'm sat behind a microphone, but I wouldn't be able to tolerate someone like that around me. But now I'm going to turn this story to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story from Dice267990 from the Am I the A-hole subreddit, and says, am I the a-hole for cancelling the birthday party I planned to throw for my wife after what she did? I, male 36, remarried after my late wife passed away. I have a son, 15. My current wife and I have been together for 2 years. She generally has a good relationship with my son, although they tend to have some disagreements from time to time. My son has a background in arts that involve wood. He used to help his grandfather with his woodworking and learned how to make handmade wooden items and use them as gifts. I planned a dinner party for my wife's birthday at a prestigious restaurant. The day before the party, she was cleaning my son's room and saw what he got her for her birthday, and that was a wooden tree with mine, hers, and his name on it. She talked with him and told him why she thought it was a sweet gift. She asked that he don't bring it to the restaurant and give it to her there. Why? No idea. When my son told me this, I just had to call her out on it. She flat out said she thought the gift looked ridiculous and she didn't want it to be seen in that prestigious restaurant and in front of her guests. I lost it on her and told her she should be ashamed of herself for even saying this when my son was being sincere and thoughtful. She swore she wasn't ashamed nor embarrassed by his work, and even said she'd take the gift, but she simply didn't want it to be seen there. I told her not to worry about it since I decided to cancel the whole thing. She went off on me, calling me unreasonable for outright cancelling her birthday over such a trivial thing. I refused to keep arguing, but she threw a fit about how I ruined her birthday and made her lose respect for me and my promises. My son kept the gift since she left the house 2 days ago, and her mum has been chewing me out for my decision and calling me an arsehole for treating her daughter like this. It could be that it was not a big deal and I overreacted, but my son was feeling hurt by a request. Now, firstly, absolutely not the a-hole in this situation. I don't blame you for cancelling it at all. It's an absolute disgusting thing to me. If you think about it, this 15-year-old who's lost his mother and his stepmom's now come into his life. They're married and they've been together for 2 years. He used his skills, his talent, to make her this really thoughtful gift, and it is so thoughtful because it's a family tree with their names on it. It feels to me that he's showing her his love and his acceptance that she's his stepmom, which I don't know, but I can imagine it being incredibly difficult. And she's saying she's not ashamed or embarrassed by his work and doesn't want it to be there, but what's her excuse? I'd be ashamed and embarrassed of her. She's probably hugely damaged their relationship now, if not destroyed it. Can you imagine what that poor guy's going through now after hearing that from her? That's such an incredibly important gift. What an absolute arsehole. But it's cool when they do it says, holy hell, not the a-hole at all. Your wife doesn't sound like a very kind person at all, but incredibly shallow and cruel. This calls for a, what the hell is wrong with her? Bit Vanilla says, cancel the whole marriage. Fun Milk says, not the a-hole, she's old enough to pretend to like it, even if she really doesn't for his feelings. I'd be taking that tree to the table to show it off if my kids made me something that thoughtful. Dry River Song says, a 15-year-old handmade birthday gift for his stepmother. I don't know if she can see it's actually 2 gifts. 1, obviously the tree itself, and 2, the thought and work he put into it. Not the a-hole, she can plan her own party. And Mother Efficiency replies to that and says, that and the fact that the 15-year-old boy who lost his mother before stepmom came into the picture only 2 years ago feels strongly enough about her to put all their names on a tree, making it a family tree, saying he sees her as family. She should be crying tears of joy and parading that tree around town, shouting from the rooftops how much it means to her. Instead, she just ruined his trust, affections for her, and possibly any other woman his dad has a relationship with. OP not the a-hole, and you will never be for putting your son first. Edit to add, she likely also just ruined his love of woodworking, as in questioning every piece he's ever given. Next time he goes to think about making something, it'll probably no longer bring him the joy it did thinking about his grandfather. Now it'll be tainted with this incident. Now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story, which comes from a throwaway account and says, am I the a-hole for walking out during my fiance's birthday dinner over what my future mother-in-law said? Throwaway for privacy. I'll preface this by saying that I'm an introvert. Although I'm in my 30s and have 2 kids, I've always struggled with being social. I have to admit that it can have a negative impact, but it's part of my personality. I'm glad everyone around me respects that and understands. However, my future mother-in-law, whom I met after meeting my current fiance, tends to make comments about me being awkward or overly shy. She always criticizes me for it, and oftentimes she would bring it up in front of everyone and make me feel anxious. My fiance's birthday was yesterday. I put lots of work in and preparation in order to fit in with the family and just be chill and normal. Everything was going well till we gathered at the dinner table. My future brother-in-law came to sit with us and pulled his chair too close to mine that our hips almost touched. I felt awkward. I got up and tried to pull my chair inches away from him. He didn't react, but his mum, future mother-in-law, was watching the whole thing and looked at me and said, "Good God, you're so uptight. I bet you made your ex-husband put a sheet over you each conception," followed by a laugh. I was blown away completely. People actually laughed with her and I felt so upset. I quietly got up and took my stuff and walked out. My fiance followed me outside saying I overreacted and ruined his birthday over a joke. I was so upset we got into a huge argument that I insisted to go home. He came back hours later yelling about how I ruined his birthday and made a scene in front of his family. He said he was sick and tired of my uptightness and that I need to loosen up and stop acting childishly. His mum called and now he's refusing to speak to me unless I apologize to him and his mum for storming out like that, since his mum was just giving her opinion in a funny way. And this is how she is. Fuck, I hate that when people say that. This is who this person is. How's that an acceptable excuse to be an arsehole? Oh, I'm going to kick you in the nuts and call you a prick just because that's how I am. Get over it. Come on now. And we cover a lot of stories where, wife or husband will defend their parents' shitty behavior. Be done with it. You don't need to put up with that kind of crap. The whole family sounds awful in this situation, laughing about it when it wasn't a funny joke. It was bloody rude. But Throwaway says, not the a-hole. You need to get out of this relationship. Being a single mum may be tough, but a future husband who would allow his mother to make a sexual joke in front of family to a person who obviously has social anxiety is not a man you should marry. Run from this family. Weekend Breakfast says, wow, such a red flag that he defended his mother and told you off. It's a very bad precedent for your marriage because it will continue to happen over and over. You will end up miserable. Run. Fast. Not the a-hole. Droppo says, not the a-hole, do not apologize. Your ex-future mother-in-law is saying, I find jokes about you funny. Why don't you find jokes about you funny? Ex-future mother-in-law, you made a disgusting joke about your son's fiance's sex life at a birthday dinner. Of course she walked out, defending your other son's actions. One sitting too close to the OP is a typical justification people give for the behavior of a predator. You should be glad you found out how horrible these people are before you tied the knot. Call off the engagement. They are not nice, and your fiance's actions is not defending you. And yelling at you later shows that he hated you all along. Get away from these awful people. Feel free to show this comment to ex-future mother-in-law if you're in contact again. Not the a-hole. And one more final comment from Angela who says, not the a-hole, but it's time to kick your fiancé to the curb. The joke was inappropriate and aimed to make you feel uncomfortable. Do you really see yourself as being part of this family long term? How many times are you going to have to listen to your mother-in-law giving her opinion in a funny way, while your hubby laughs about it? Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What would you suggest to OP to do in this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be